Before humanity existed, the universe had already witnessed obedience without question. The angels carried out every command perfectly. The jinn lived with freedom, choosing between right and wrong. But something was missing. A creation that would combine both knowledge and choice. And so, a new creation was announced. But this creation would not be like any that came before. It would not be made from light, nor from fire, but from something far more humble: clay. So the question is, why would the first human be created from clay? From dust, from earth, from something that seems so simple, so low. And yet this creation would become one of the most honored. In Islamic tradition, God declares to the angels that he will create a Khalifa, a successor, a representative on earth. A being that would carry responsibility. A being that would live, choose, and act. But when the angels hear this, they respond. Not with rebellion, but with a question. They say, "Will you create a being that will spread corruption and shed blood while we glorify you and praise you?" This question reflects something deep. They had already seen what free will could lead to: corruption, violence, disorder. But the answer they receive changes everything. God says, "I know what you do not know." And then, the creation begins. Adam is formed from clay, shaped, molded, given form. But at first, he is not yet alive, a body without a soul. And then comes the moment that transforms everything. The ruh, the soul, is breathed into him, and Adam lives. The first human opens his eyes. The first human breathes. The first human becomes aware. But Adam is not left without guidance. He is given something no other creation had been given in the same way: knowledge. God teaches Adam the names of all things, the meanings, the understanding of the world. And then something extraordinary happens. God presents this knowledge to the angels and asks them to name these things if they are truthful, but they cannot. They respond, "We have no knowledge except what you have taught us." And then Adam speaks. He names them, one by one. And in that moment, something becomes clear. This new creation possesses something unique: the ability to learn, to understand, to know. And this is when the command is given. A command to all present, to the angels, and to Iblis. Bow to Adam, not as worship, but as recognition. Recognition of what he had been given: knowledge, honor, purpose. And one by one, they obey. Every angel bows, without hesitation, without question. But one remains standing: Iblis, the one who once stood among the most devoted, the one who worshipped with intensity, the one who had risen, now refuses. And in that moment, everything changes. So the question is, why did Iblis refuse? When asked, his answer reveals everything. He says, "I am better than him. You created me from fire, and created him from clay." In that single statement, pride is revealed. Arrogance takes form. He compares. He judges. He elevates himself above another creation. And in doing so, he disobeys. This is the first act of arrogance in existence. The first moment where a being chooses ego over obedience. And the consequences are immediate. God commands Iblis to leave, to descend, to fall, because arrogance has no place in divine presence. But Iblis does not simply leave. He makes a request. He asks for time. Time until the day of judgment. And his request is granted. But then he makes a declaration, a vow. He says, "I will mislead them. I will come to them from every direction. From in front of them, behind them, from their right and their left. and most of them will not be grateful. This is not just rebellion. This is the beginning of a mission. A mission to lead humanity away, to whisper, to deceive, to tempt. And from this moment, the conflict begins, not just between good and evil, but between guidance and misguidance, between truth and illusion. Now let's pause and look at another perspective. In the Bible, the creation of Adam also begins from dust. God forms man from the ground and breathes life into him. So here again, we see agreement. Humanity begins from earth, given life through divine will. But the story of the fall differs. In biblical tradition, the fall is connected to temptation in the garden, often associated with a serpent figure, while in Islam, the focus begins earlier, with Iblis, with refusal, with pride. Not just temptation, but disobedience rooted in arrogance. And this difference is important, because it shifts the focus from external temptation to internal choice. So now we return to the deeper question. What is more dangerous? An enemy outside you, or arrogance within you? Because Iblis did not fall because he lacked knowledge. He fell because of pride. And that same danger exists within humanity. The same choice, the same possibility, to obey or to reject, to be humble or to be arrogant. And that is what makes the story of Adam so powerful. It is not just history. It is a mirror, a reflection of every human being. Because every person faces the same test. Not once, but every day. And now, the stage is set. Adam has been created. Iblis has fallen. The mission of deception has begun. But the story is far from over. Because Adam has not yet entered the next phase, paradise. And within it, a test, a choice, a forbidden tree. In the next episode, we explore life in paradise, the first temptation, and the moment humanity leaves heaven and arrives on earth.